Welcome back to the channel. If you've been following along, you know my last install was the head unit on my Infiniti G35. This is going to be a follow-up to that. One of the features of that head unit is that it allows for a backup camera to work when you put the car in reverse. Turns the camera on, shows it on the head unit screen, and then turns it back to the normal screen when you take it out of reverse. So here's a backup camera that I bought for the car. Didn't choose this one for any particular reason other than that I got the best reviews on Amazon. So it's I'll link it in the description. And basically all of them work the same way. They have a RCA type connection that connects to the head unit. And this one actually has a pretty convenient little option or addition in that it has this little tiny connector that you can snake through the holes in your bumper or the trunk in order to get it to the wires that it needs to connect to. So instead of trying to plug this one or push an RCA cable through, you can see how much bigger that is. So you only need a 6mm hole to feed this through, whereas you probably need double or 3 times that big to fit this RCA cable through. So we'll go about installing it, and then I'll show you how it works. Okay, just to the left of the latch in the trunk, and then below there's a grommet that goes through right here. So I've just pushed a piece of metal, just a punch through that grommet in order to make a hole, and then I'll feed the wire for the backup camera through that grommet. You have to really kind of feel around to get that grommet, but I have just enough room here to get my hand up behind my plate. I don't know if all the G35s have this much room, or if mine, just because this rear bumper has been replaced on my car because I got in an accident. But on mine, I can fit my hand up in here and I can feel that grommet and I can push the wire through it. So hopefully you have some room, otherwise you might have to take the bumper and pull it away from the vehicle in order to get in there. To install the unit, I had to flip around the camera. So you take out these 4 screws right here, and then you turn the camera 180, and that way you can install it. I installed it up under here. You can see some screw holes, one here, one over here, and I've mounted it up on the underside where the license plate goes. And then you just aim it with these 2 screws right here. You can loosen those and twist the camera down and aim it properly. Alright, to get the wiring done, in the back of in the trunk here, there's a trim panel that you pull down on the top right. And in this bundle right here, okay, trace that bundle through, and then underneath there's a orange wire coming through. So in this wiring loom right here, I find the orange one, it was too tight for me to really splice into it. So I cut and I spliced another wire onto it, and then I spliced those 2 into this red wire, which is the feed wire to the power that goes to the camera. So just remember, orange wire up underneath the trim panel in the trunk, and that's your reverse light, and that'll send the power to tell the camera to turn on. Over on the driver's side, underneath these trim panels here, there's a trim panel that goes here. You pop that up, and then you can pull these inner trim panels away from the inside of the vehicle, and there's a good ground spot right there that I attached to for the negative. Okay, when you're feeding the RCA cable, up on the driver's side is where I ran mine, and you can just take some clips holding this upper liner in place, and you just take out I think 3 clips, and then under here you can see that piece of foam back there. That goes through to the it basically fills up a hole going through to the passenger compartment. So I'll show you where that goes through behind the back seat. Alright, now I'm behind the back seat, and my G35 is the one with the small pass-through and the back seats, of reclining seats. And so there's that piece of trim here that connects with some Velcro. And so you just take that off, pry the Velcro off, and then back here, right under there, you can see the piece of foam, and that's where that wire will come through. So you just feed it through. Make sure you don't scrape it on the metal surrounding that foam, so because it's sharp. There's some sharp edges in there, so you don't want to scrape the wire sheathing off. And then you just pull it through until you come to the end, or as much as you can pull through. Okay, wiring into the back of the head unit is pretty simple. You just make sure that this cam in connector, the purple, is plugged into the back of the head unit right here, and then that goes out and into the RCA connector for the reverse camera, and then the wire that comes off of the reverse camera, the red, plugs into the orange reverse. You just solder it into the reverse orange wire, orange with black. So, and that comes also out of the back of the head unit. So this reverse one that's tagged and it's orange with black stripe goes into the red for the cam, and then the RCA cables get connected together, and then that all gets shoved in the back, obviously. And I taped them up right here so that they wouldn't pull apart or something. Well, I'm putting it all back together, or putting it all back into the into place. And so I'll just feed that all back in. The wire I ran underneath the steering column, then over to the side down this railing, and it goes all the way back underneath that trim piece, so it's all hidden. Okay, so on the head unit I've angled it down a bit so that it shows up. Here you can see I've got a tape measure out there, and this screwdriver is at 1 foot. This pair of what look like pliers is here at 2 feet, and then there's a small little extension out here at 3 feet. So these red, yellow, and green bars, they actually are pretty close to right on. So if you angle it right, you can get it to the proper setting. And so got it angled. I can still see up quite high. That the door handle there is about at my waist high, so you can still see up quite a bit, because it's a fisheye type lens. It's a wide angle lens, and so it looks pretty good. So I think I've got it angled the right way, and I'm going to keep it like that. And so each one of those little tick marks, the red is 1 feet, yellow is 2 feet, green is 3 feet, and then the blue would be 4 or more feet, but obviously it's going to get a little bit more distorted as you go further out. But that looks good to me, and I'll keep it like that for a while. The camera is not too bad. It's pretty good. It gets blown out a bit in the garage here because it's dark in the garage and then really bright outside, so it doesn't look that bad. If the car was outside, and it wouldn't look as bad as it does, but you get the idea. So that's it. That's how to install a backup camera on the pumpkin head unit. And Hope that helps out, and it's pretty easy. Took about maybe a half hour to wire the whole thing up, and hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you in the next video.